From our point of view, we can distinguish between experience and expression, wisdom and compassion, but in reality, from the point of view of a Buddha, they are indistinguishable. These are not the only meanings of the word Dharma in Buddhism, although they are the principal ones. It is a rich term with many connotations. In India, it is commonly used to refer to one's duty as a member of a particular hereditary class, and thus is associated with the caste system. It is not used in this way in Buddhism, which repudiates the idea of caste, but there are many other definitions of the term. To deal first with the two I have already mentioned, we find an example of Dharma used to mean law, principle, or truth in the classic Buddhist text called the Dhammapada, where it says, "Not by hatred is hatred ever pacified here in the world. It is pacified by love. This is the eternal law." The word for law here is Dharma. It's in the very nature of things that hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the principle, this is the law, this is the truth. Here Dharma is a psychological and spiritual law, a spiritual principle, one might say. Then there's Dharma as doctrine or teaching. At least these English words approximate to what is meant. It's not quite doctrine in the theological "I believe in" sense, and it's not quite teaching. It's more like an exposition, a making clear, a presentation. The Sanskrit expression is Dhamma Deshana, which means exposition of the Dharma, or Dhamma Kata, talking about the Dharma. And, just to touch upon other definitions, Dharma, here with a small d, can also mean simply thing, or phenomenon, to be more technical and philosophical. Used in this way, the word can refer to any kind of thing, whether physical, mental, spiritual, or transcendental. Again, in the Dhammapada, there's a well-known verse which says, "All things whatsoever are devoid of unchanging selfhood." What devoid of unchanging selfhood might mean we shall see later. The point here is that the word used for things in the original is Dharma, the Sanskrit form of the word, or Dhamma, the same word in Pali, the ancient Indian language in which many early Buddhist texts have come down to us. Dharma can also mean mental object. In the West, we usually speak of 5 senses, but the Indian tradition, including the Buddhist tradition, counts 6. As well as the 5 sense organs, eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body, skin, there's a 6th, mind. Just as the eye has material form as its object, and the ear has sound, so the mind has ideas or mental objects. And the word used for idea in this context is Dharma. Lastly, Dharma can mean a state or condition of existence, as in what are known as the 8 Loka Dharmas. Loka means world, so these Loka Dharmas are the 8 worldly conditions: gain and loss, fame and infamy, praise and blame, and pleasure and pain. And we're advised, of course, not to allow ourselves to be blown around by them. They are also sometimes called the 8 worldly winds. The Mangala Sutta says that the greatest of all blessings is to have a mind which cannot be disturbed by any of these 8 Loka Dharmas. It is a great blessing to be, or rather to learn to be, unmoved, whether we win or lose, whether we're famous or infamous, whether people blame us or praise us, and whether we experience pleasure or pain. Of course, one can think of many other such pairs, for example, whether we're young or old, resting or working, well or sick. All these states or conditions are dharmas. Thus the term Dharma is very rich in meaning, and one has to be very careful in studying the original texts to sort out the appropriate meaning of the word if one is to make sense of what is being said. In this book, we are going to be focusing on the Dharma as principle or truth, and the Dharma as teaching or path. One could say, perhaps, that we will be looking at the theory and the practice, except that really the whole of Buddhism is about practice.